It helped me to take care of myself better. It was one of the best pieces of advice I ever had. Okay, and it'll help you make more money, and I'll prove it to you. The number 2 thing, pay yourself. Some of you say first. No, you pay yourself third. Go ahead and write that down. Okay, pay yourself third. Well, hold it, Dwayne. There's all kinds of workshops and all these financial gurus. They say pay yourself first. No, if you pay yourself first, you'll go broke. Your business will fall apart. So just a little tip here. Pay yourself after you've put aside money for your taxes and put money back into your business. With the money from your business, then you pay yourself. But you should pay yourself every week or 2. Payroll is perfect. Your taxes are paid, kept up. You get a paycheck coming, so you feel self-worth. Wouldn't it be nice to pay yourself, $5,000 a week, $10,000 a week. Put aside some money for taxes, a little bit back into your business, and you got $6,000 approximately for yourself every week. Right? It's possible. It's possible to do it. I'm going to show you how to do it. You're going to love it. All right, so that was just a couple of tips to put on the left side of your book. On the right-hand side of your book, let's go into the real estate success formula. If you're at the free training event, we're going to talk about this. It says, there's a little ooh there. You see that? It says, bring in a saleable listing each week. How? By booking a minimum of 3 listing appointments a week. That's your number 1 focus each week, is to book 3 appointments to bring in at least 1 listing. Nothing else should be more important on your thinking process, your radar. Your whole week is based on, I got to book 3 appointments, I have to get a listing. Everything else will fall into place. But you know what it's like with some of these agents? The 5% Club always gets to work focusing on their listing appointments to get a listing. The low producers are wondering what color their brochure should be or what stuff they could do to avoid prospecting or going on appointments even. Okay, so don't do that. First thing for the real estate success formula is bring in a saleable, first thing is actually go to work. 80% of success comes from just showing up, but still you want to focus on bringing in a saleable listing. Then you want to separate the lookers from the buyers. Now, what's a buyer? I would say someone that's pre-approved for a mortgage, that's committed to you and you only through buyer agency, that with pre-approval they have money, and they're motivated. So it's not just they are capable and they're willing to work with you, but they really want to buy soon. And there's some urgency in it. When I say soon, I mean they got a plan. It doesn't have to be somebody that's like, it's all, like now, but it is now in the sense that, if you find it's the right thing, we're not fooling around, right? What's a looker? It's the opposite of that. Not pre-approved, not committed to you, not motivated, very picky, always looking for a deal, or they're going to try to lowball everybody. You just let it go, move on. Always use buyer listing exclusive or buyer agency or buyer brokerage. So a couple of things. Some of the states I teach in and provinces are different. So in one province and one state I was in, you can represent both the buyer and seller in different ways, and you can double-end properties. And then a couple other states and provinces I've been, you cannot represent both parties in any way at all. You're not even allowed to work with the buyer if you represent the seller. In fact, in some places, if you know the buyer, you can't represent the seller, or no, how does it work again? So since you know the buyer, you can't, it really gets messy. Just trying to think how that works again. And if you're in one of those places, a province or state, you know what I'm talking about. So here you represent the seller, and you have a buyer that calls you, and they want to see your listing. And you get them in the office, you get them to sign buyer agency to show them other properties. And on your listing, you have to back out on everything. You have to get a different realtor to show the property, a different agent to represent your seller because you know the buyer. Something like that. So check with your broker to see if there's a way the brokerage can help you with that. I'd like to be able to see that you're still involved in as much as possible because you deserve it. In the old days when I first started, in every province and state we had dual agency. I could represent the buyer, I could represent the seller, I could tell them that there's a conflict of confidentiality. If they're okay with it, I can move forward, and I would double in, no problem, never had a problem. Somehow they got rid of it for, I don't know, some people weren't using it right, I guess. All right, so use it, buyer agency, so try to sell your own stuff. So I got ahead of myself there after I said show and sell, as when I meant about, in some places it's harder to do it. In other places, you can represent the seller. Maybe you can't represent the buyer, but you can make them a customer. You can still write the offer for them. You can still do everything. You just got to watch out for your representation. You may not be able to give one of them advice, like the customer, and you don't watch out. You might say something by mistake, like what do you think they should offer. Just talk to your broker. Make sure that this success formula doesn't, I don't want to get you in trouble. So again, each week try to get a listing by booking a minimum of 3 appointments. If you do that, you don't have to worry about the buyer side so much. But if somebody does call on the yard side, talk to your broker, see how you can handle that. The other thing too though, is when you're a listing agent, don't just pass on that buyer to someone else just because they called in your listing. You should still make them a client for other listings. So that if they don't like your property, you're still able to help them buy another one. So call me if you have a question on that, but I think you know what I mean, right? Okay, that's the real estate success formula. So really what I'm doing is I'm trying to show you how to do real estate in a good market or a bad market. I mean, or even in any city. I should be able to parachute you in any city with a new cell phone, and you should be able to, you know, well, nowadays it's harder to get phone numbers, but you could parachute in and just start talking to people and get a listing and start to market yourself. And it doesn't matter where you are. This works in every city in North America. Well, like I said, I teach in Canada and the U.S., so let me just talk about Canada and in the U.S. But it doesn't matter what city you're in, doesn't matter what neighborhood you're in, doesn't matter what state or province you're in. This works right from the ground up, starting all the way up, okay? So let's go back to the first key to success and give you some attitude tips. Sounds good? So, success in real estate is like math. You need to add your positives, subtract your negatives, multiply your efforts, and separate your family life from your business life, your family and personal life from your business life. And so when I say that, it's pretty simple. You're just analyzing your day when you're done, or analyze before you start as well. And you just say, okay, how do I multiply my efforts? Well, embrace technology and delegate to others. How do I subtract my negatives? Well, have a not-to-do list and stop doing the things that are non-productive. Okay, and we're going to give you all that stuff in the course. You just have to make sure you're aware of them all and commit to doing or not doing. You know, how do I multiply my efforts? Well, that's marketing. You know, wouldn't it be nice that the leads are coming in, you can sift and sort through and pick just the easy ones, go on your appointments, keep deals together, and go on holidays? Isn't that right? And then separate your family and personal life from your business life. You didn't get into this to have no life. You want to have a life. You want to have your family time. You want to have your personal time. In fact, I want you to have more family time and more personal time and less business time, is the whole idea. 50 deals a year, working 40 hours a week or less is what you want to do in this business. Sounds good? So you want to make sure that adversity in your career must breed success. So you're going to learn. Okay, they say this. A smart person learns from their mistakes. True or true? All right. So I'm going to send you out. You're going to go do some stuff the wrong way. You'll come back and talk to me. We'll analyze it and you'll learn from your mistakes. Right on. You're a smart person. And that's the least you should be doing. But I want to let you know that you should try this as well. Be a wise person. While you're in this training, learn from my mistakes. Learn from other stories I get from other people from their mistakes. Let me share them with you. And be wise. Don't go through the ringer if you don't have to. Just do it from what you hear is the wise thing to do, right? So, adversity will breed success, but if you're wise, you won't even have to go through some adversity. You'll hear about other people's adversity, and it'll breed success. Adversity, or learning about adversity, should be like booster rockets for you, not get you to freeze like deer in headlights, like a deer in headlights. All right, gang? All right, so you have to admit it's your choice. So if you're Working with the wrong client, you either have to leave it, or you need to live with it, or you need to change it. Personal relationships. You know what's really hard? In business, it's easier for you to say, I'm not hanging around with these people, they're negative, they're not productive, I gotta hang around with, you know, I gotta hang around with the eagles that are flying out there, or whatever you want to call it. You can do it by choice. With your friends, it's a little harder, but you still could do it. You could. They say the 5 people you hang around with the most will determine their average income will be your average income. How they deal with people, their relationships, you know, if all of them are divorced, there's a good chance you will be, you know, or how you act, it could be a reflection of these 5 people. So yeah, some people start to pick different friends when they start realizing that, you know, I gotta hang around with the right people. The hardest part is when you have negativity, not only in your family, but your spouse. I don't think leaving is the right thing. Living with it might be an option, but depends if there's something worse going on when it comes to certain relationships, like any verbal abuse or worse. Changing it together, if people can actually, you know, see if they want to change together and make it better, that's what I love to hear, of course. Okay, so you got these 3 areas. Business life, watch out who you hang out with. Personal and friends, watch out who you hang out with. And then you got your close relationships that will always be there. Hopefully you can both work together to make things more positive. The last thing you want is to try to be positive, so positive every day, and have a spouse that's very negative. Okay? All right, so brighten up your work environment. What would your office look like? So, should it be under the stairs with a little pull string to turn on the light, like a little dungeon? No, of course not. The best office you could ever have is an office inside of a real estate office with good lighting. Everything looks good. You got maybe some flowers, some good artwork on the wall, you got nice furniture. The next best thing would be at a business center. The next best thing after that would be an office at home. But it's pretty hard for you to invite buyers over in your own home. That's why it's not number 1 or 2. Okay, but you want to make sure that you have a really good environment. Brighten it up if you need to right now, okay, gang? And watch for detours. Watch out. If you have another business, if it's a franchise and you don't have to be there, good for you. Go buy another one. If it's investments, stocks, or you have revenue properties and you have property management covering it for you, good for you. Get some more. If you have a construction company and you have to go there and do all the work, you just have to understand that your real estate business will suffer from it. You won't be able to get the results you want that I'm talking about in this course. Or a restaurant where you're flipping the burgers or cooking the steaks and you have to be there all the time. I mean, I understand you got a real estate license, you have another business, that's fine, I give you credit for that. But you can't expect the same results, that's all I'm talking about, all right? And don't let negative co-workers get you down. Again, it goes back to what I said. If you have negative co-workers, you either avoid them or you have a heart-to-heart. Say, listen, I don't need to hear that stuff anymore. Every time I hear what you're saying, for about a half hour, I have to shake it off. And I have to reset my positive gauge just to be able to talk to people. So leave me alone or something, okay? I don't know, you know what I mean. Just stay away from that. Don't watch out for what we call negative Ned and procrastinating Paula. Negative Ned, he's crazy. I tell you, he'll be down the hallway in the morning, you're walking in, and he's like looking really upset. You go, well, what's wrong, Ned? And you go, oh, I'm just pissed off because yesterday, the open house. Well, what happened yesterday? Well, the open house, nobody showed up, and this, and I know I should have advertised, but I'm just sick and tired. You can just feel it. You know, oh, right? So you think, okay, well, I hope it works out better for you later, Ned. Take care. Get in your office, you sit down, you go, I'm exhausted just from hearing that. So you finally pick up yourself, you prospect, you got some leads going on, you're feeling positive, you're feeling good. You get up and you walk down the hall and there's Ned standing in the corner. He's just like, deer in headlights, right? And you go, hey Ned, so what's wrong now? Oh, geez, Dwayne, I don't know, I'm just worried about tomorrow. Well, what are you worried about tomorrow? I don't know, I just know something bad's going to happen. It's like, holy crap, you can't win with this guy. Procrastinating Paula, watch out for her. So if there's any Neds or Paulas in my class, I'm not talking about you. All right? It's just a rhyme. Negative Ned, procrastinate, yeah. Notice your own patterns of behavior. So worse yet, you could have negative Ned and procrastinating Paula around, and you could say I'm not, you can avoid them, right? Like, I'm just kidding. But what about if that mindset is in your head? I'm trying to think who said this. It was one of the Hollywood actors or something. He said something on YouTube or something, and you can Google it. I can't remember who it was, but they said, when you're trying to build a business or when you're trying to have a career, the whole world or a lot of things that are going on in the world are working against you. And in real estate, it's not any different. To get a yes, you have to go through a lot of no's. There's a lot of adversity. You have all kinds of factors working against you that we have to work around, work through, work under, work over. We have to keep moving on through. And if we got that much in the world working against us, why the heck would we want to have ourselves working against us? Just think about that. For us to be against ourselves because of procrastinating or being negative, that doesn't even make sense. If you're your own worst enemy, I'm not just even talking about this real estate career, but just life in general. That is the biggest thing you got to make sure never gets in the way, is you need to be extremely positive for yourself. And you deserve it too, we all do. So don't get stuck like negative Ned and be the one that's holding yourself back, okay gang? So notice your patterns of behavior and you say, okay, once in a while, now I know there's chronic depression and chronic stress even, and chronic kind of worry and all that kind of stuff. And some people need more help. It takes longer, I get that. So I'm not trying to take this lightly, but you know where you stand personally. And when you recognize your own patterns of behavior, I know myself that I can be upbeat for a long time, but all of a sudden, or maybe every month or every 2 months, I can feel this one day where I'm just really negative. And it's not good. I just know that, and I try to shake it off. I just need to either go to the gym and eat good and then rest and then just kind of play drums for a while and just kind of be alone a bit. And that's me though, okay? And on a more regular basis, as adversity hits me, I know that, hey, if I could go back and do a little boxing, hit the heavy bag a bit, or go to the gym, or play drums, like I said, or go for a walk, or just go out for dinner with my wife and have a few laughs, because she always gets me having fun. So I know that that'll help me. If I said something that applies to you as well, just remember, as soon as you feel that little dive going on, see if you can get out of it or go and talk to the right person. Like in my coaching program, it's a good thing that I know a lot about psychology. I'm not a professional. And even therapy and how therapeutic things can work. I can touch on a little bit in this training. One-on-one, I'm a little bit better. But you may even need to talk to other kinds of counseling. I get that, right? I guess I'm pretty experienced too, and I don't mind admitting it, that I've went through addictions in my younger days and worked through them as well. And I understand how that works. So anyways, when you do understand it, then you are literally saying, okay, I can feel something coming on. It could be somebody got you upset and I could get angry about it. How do you handle that? So recognize those patterns. So I hope I said it right. And it's coming from here, you can tell, right? All right, let's go to the next part. Ask yourself what you want and insist on it, right? So what do you want? So we know you want a goal or reward 8 to 10 weeks from now. It's a trip to Mexico or Hawaii, or it's a new car, it's a new furniture, or it's build a new garage or whatever. But what else do you want? And that's what I said. Maybe you want 100 grand in your first year of real estate. Maybe it's your third year and you want, maybe you're still working on the 100 grand and that's why you're in the class. Or maybe you've made you want to make 150. Maybe last year you made 250. 250, yeah, million dollars. Wouldn't it be nice to make 450? I know people that make $1 million a year. And if they can do it, you can do it. You just have to do the same thing as them, isn't that right? So ask yourself what you want and insist on it. And you know what? We will recommit daily to your goals. In the class, you'll recommit and pledge your goal or reward. But every day, you should have your goal or reward on the wall with the 8 keys to success. There's other tools I'm going to tell you to put up there. but also maybe even put up how much money you want to make in the next 12 months. I have an income converter I'm going to give you as well soon. Just remember, in sales, we get paid to solve people's problems, so we got to make sure we've dealt with our problems. There's three ways to deal with our problems, as I said. You can leave it behind you, you can live with it, or you can change it. So you're going to have to make decisions, and don't let things build up so that it affects you so bad. But we need to solve other people's problems. You will be surprised, those of you who've been in real estate for a while, how many times you go on a listing appointment and you feel like you're a therapist. My goodness, these people get very emotional sometimes. They start telling you the whole life story. And we got to, you know, you can feel it. It can take energy out of you. So I want to read something to you. You all may have heard of Nelson Mandela, and in 1994, Marianne Williamson wrote him a speech, and it was his inaugural speech. And I put this in your manual, and you can print it off, put it on your wall, or you can just read it whenever you want. But he says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. And as we ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, and fabulous? Well, actually, who are we not to be? You are a child of God. You playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel unsure about you. We were born to make manifest the glory that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Wow. Whew. So, remember the law of attraction? My friend Bob Proctor, I met him and had dinner with him. He came up with a movie called The Secret. We were in Toronto, and he actually was sitting right beside me to introduce that movie to our training company, and I watched it with him. And I've got his book, You Were Born Rich, and he follows a lot of, his company follows a lot of other trainers, past trainers, Earl Nightingale, Napoleon Hill, that kind of stuff. Wow. And to understand the law of attraction, and to know that I give myself a checkup from the neck up every day, and I dress for success, and I'm approachable, and I'm around more people, and I know how to offer to meet with people, to consult them, in other words, closing and all that. There's a ton of business gets attracted to you. There's a few more components, but that's the gist of it. And that's what I talk about lots in the course. So, remember the first key to success, attitude. Give yourself a checkup from the neck up and follow some of the tips I gave you so far. Fair enough, gang? So, now, a couple other things we're going to do in the course. Remember, we're getting you all set up. And in lesson 2, there will be one specific and maybe two, depends on the time factor, where we're going to role play a technique. And I'm going to show you how it works in the recording as well. So if you are remotely watching or online, you can still role play kind of on your own, but follow the same way. And I'm going to let you know how it works. Lesson 3, you role play a little bit more. Lesson 4, you role play quite a bit. Same as lesson 5 and 6. 7, not much, I think once, and nothing in lesson 8 for role play. But when you do role play, there is a process to follow, a role play process. If you look at your manual, page 1-8, lesson 1-8, there's the role play report card or critique page. And I put a couple of, anytime I introduce some forms, I always put an extra one in the back. Some of there's more than one extra one. You can also download the manual, keep it on your computer, and print off things whenever you want. Sounds good? All right, so the role play process is this. I might be teaching one of the tools. So I'll teach it first. Then once I finish teaching it, I'll show you how to use it. I'll be the realtor, and you folks will be the seller or the buyer. That's me showing you how to use it. Then I'll ask you to pick a partner, and one person will be the realtor, the other one will be the seller or the buyer, depends on the role play. You'll take out your critique page, you put your name on top, you'll pass it to the other person. Then you'll, as the realtor, you'll see what the tool is that I taught you and showed you how to do, and then you'll role play with the person across from you. Once they're done, they're going to critique you. But while you're role playing, just remember that if a person starts to role play wrong, the critique person / seller has to stop them. They have to say, hold it, whoa, you're off track, right? You got to get back to doing it the way Dwayne just showed us. And if they say, well, I don't do it that way, if there's some realtor been around a couple of years, they're not really that successful, but they feel that this stuff should work better, tell them that their seminar starts at 3:30. And right now they have to do it my way. Hopefully they get paid for their seminar, but you guys paid me to teach you the best way, and you're going to do it the best way in the program. And same with you online. You need to. If you're doing it wrong, you need to stop. And you know, you can critique them and say, hold on, you just missed that one part maybe, or if they're saying they don't want to do it that way, they call me over. You know, and those of you online, if you're trying to figure it out on your own, make sure you're not the one that's saying, I'm not going to do it that way. At least practice it and try, give it a shot. All right? And once you critique them, then they can start again or they can resume. Again, if you're having any trouble, contact me or wave me over, put up your hand. Fair enough? So just remember, Zig Ziglar, that's another one that, you know, like Bob Proctor and a lot of other trainers will bring up Zig Ziglar, Jr. and Senior. And one of the best things I ever heard. The elevator to success is out of order. We must take it one step at a time. You must take it one step at a time. If you skip any steps from what I teach, you make less money, and it takes you more time, and then you're not happy. Period. All right? So just remember that. The elevator to success is out of order. We must take it one step at a time. So here's the critique page. Your page in your manual has 3 blocks like that. So when I give you a technique, you'll write it down. You'll grade the person 1 to 5. When you put the number in, you don't have to squeeze it in that little box. You can just make it big right over the box. Don't worry about that. Okay, gang? Sounds good? So, I've got a company to refer to you. So in the class, I have a mix of agents. I have new people, and you may not be set up yet for like your database. I may have people that have been around a couple of years and they've been trying different databases and they're looking for something. And I may have veterans that, you know, maybe they want a new one, or maybe they're good and you don't need this, but I'll let you know what it is anyways, okay? So there's a company called Exact Contact. It's a real estate CRM and an emailing marketing solution. You can even use them to be able to print off flyers if you want to mail stuff to people as well, which I recommend. This includes a mobile-friendly realtor website. As it says, it's all quick to learn and easy. In your manual, there's a page there, and if you look at the bottom, it says you can sign up for a 60-day free trial. Just put in the promo code DGROOM at exactcontact.com. And if you're a new realtor, if you've only been licensed for less than 6 months, you can get a free trial for 6 months. Now, what I really like about it, first of all, I like the fact, in my training each week I'm going to tell you to put 25 names on a list. And you put 25 names on a list, and what you're going to try to do is contact these people and make sure you got their spelling right, make sure you got their email address, their phone number, and their mailing address. You can put it into this database. And the cool thing is if you have their email address, you can create through this system, it's free in the beginning, and I'll tell you what it costs after the free trial. It's really affordable, by the way, but you can create a e-flyer that gets emailed to up to 2,500 people for free for that 60-day or that 6-month period. It's a great e-flyer. I really like it. You just have to put in your contact info and your photo, and it's all pre-made, and you have choices of different e-flyers to go out, and you can just schedule it for the middle of the month. Every month it just goes out on its own. And you got to keep watch on your system, because every once in a while there'll be a reply, and sometimes it'll come to your email, but sometimes they can also reply and it goes into the system and it'll say you have a couple leads. And it's really neat because the automation can get you some leads, and if you get a couple extra, what the heck, right? So what was I going to say? There was something. Oh, okay, so you put the contacts into the CRM, set up your e-newsletter. They also give you a free landing page, so you can get a domain name from GoDaddy if you don't have a website yet, and you can start having something to expose yourself on the internet at least, and then you can still talk to them about building a website. So for the landing page, the CRM, and the e-flyer 60 days free or 6 months. And when the free trial period is over, it's under $40 per month, and so it's pretty affordable. So I'll leave that with you. Sign up. It's a good idea. And so let's go over how to get started. So why did we want to get into real estate? Let's see here, gang. So, all right. So we wanted to get into real estate to make some what? Money. And have a life. I know we went over that part, but this is just here. We got to figure out getting started. What do we got to do so we can make some money? What do you think has to happen in real estate before you make some money? Well, a deal has to close. And by the way, when you hear the word close, I want you to think what money sounds like if you were to say it verbally. Cha-ching. And every time I say the word close, everybody online and everybody in my in-person training says cha-ching. And sometimes we'll say it too much and I got to try not to say close. Cha-ching. And every time I do say close, cha-ching, you're going to have to try to beat me in saying cha-ching, right? So watch out when I say close. Cha-ching. Just goofing around. All right, let's see here. So we need to have something to close so that we make some money. What's the best thing? So what have I been talking about more? Buyers or sellers? Sellers, right? Listings. So we need to get as many listings as possible. How do we get listings? How do we get listings? We need to book a whole bunch of appointments, right? But how do we get appointments? We need to TTP. TTP. Talk to people, talk to people, talk to people. You talk to people, and if you're trained, you will close cha-ching for a face-to-face meeting without thinking. Everybody you talk to, you'll offer, hey, well, let's do this. Why don't we, I can put aside some time where we can get together. I can go over the buyer process. I can go over the seller process. I can go over some properties in the area. I can go over some of the sales in the area. And I've got some time I can do this Thursday at 3, or would 4 be better? And then they respond. If they say no, then you give an alternate choice for another day. Well, then let's do Saturday at 1, or is 2 better? So you try to close cha-ching more than once if you have to. But remember, if you're talking to people and you're trained, you're going to book appointments pretty easy. And if you book appointments and you're trained, you're going to get listings pretty easy. And if you get listings and you're trained, you're going to have them priced right so that they close cha-ching. And if you're trained, when you get closed cha-ching, you're going to have money in the bank. When are you making money is when you're spending it, or it's in your bank account, okay? So I put a little graph there. You can take your pen and just put the $ and just close cha-ching, listings, appointments. And there's a direct correlation between talking to people and making money. So I put this arrow here. There's a direct correlation between talking to people. If you're trained, the only thing you have to focus on is talking to people, returning calls from your marketing, or being proactive. It's up to you. You just have to be committed. Every time, let them say, you ask questions, let them talk all about their life, then they go back and ask you about something. You say, that's really good, let's do this, I don't mind, let's get together. I don't care if they want to sell 5 years from now. If they're curious about something, say, let's get together. You know, get yourself so busy that you have to turn those